He's Hacker.
Talk about a fried egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Wednesday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us. A Wednesday evening that finds the Jaguars traveling down to Miami for a joint practice with the Dolphins tomorrow. Of course, the preseason finale, the game, Saturday night. Jaguars and Dolphins, you'll hear it right here on 1010XL. Kickoff at 7 o'clock on Saturday. And then the waiting game begins for a lot of players. The Jaguars, like every NFL team, have to cut their roster from 90 down to 53 by next Tuesday at 4 o'clock Eastern time. So we will certainly spend a lot of time on the Jaguars tonight. I was down at the Miller Electric Center for the final, quote-unquote, training camp practice of 2025. 4 weeks. Doesn't seem like 4 weeks, but it was 4 weeks ago today the Jaguars had their first practice, and now the final one that was entirely open to the media was today. 4 weeks later, the Jaguars will have the joint practice against Miami tomorrow. They will be down in Miami on Friday, play the game on Saturday, and then the cuts come in probably as early as Sunday. Speaking of the Jaguars, my Jaguar training camp one-on-one conversation from earlier today with Dennis Gardeck. Really interesting guy. I got the sense in talking to people out there in Arizona, Gardeck was an undrafted guy, spent 7 years with the Cardinal organization, was kind of a fan favorite out there. I got the vibe, the Arizona fan base, that was kind of like their Andrew Wingard. What Dewey is to us, Gardeck was to Arizona. There was a lot of upset feelings from the Cardinal fan base when Gardeck was not retained in Arizona. He tore an ACL in October. He signed with the Jaguars in, late May, early June. He's been rehab, and he just got off the PUP like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. I think the Jaguars like him. I think they like him a lot, and I think he is going to factor in here in 2025. So you will hear that conversation that I had with Dennis Gardeck coming up in about 10 minutes or so. Also, we'll do a little college football in hour number one. You realize we got games this weekend? We got Iowa State, Kansas State, and Dublin, Ireland. We got Hawaii and Stanford. Dan Mullen makes his UNLV debut. Not that we're going to spend a lot of time on those games, but the point is, there are a handful of college football games on Saturday, and we are 10 days away. 10 days away from Florida, from Florida State, from Georgia, 11 days away from Miami, all getting their season started. Connor O'Gara, Saturday Down South. He is one of my favorites to talk college football with. We will talk Florida, Florida State, Miami, and Georgia with Connor O'Gara. That conversation comes up in about 25 minutes or so. Absolutely loaded. We're glad you're with us. Every night here on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night and Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
You know, I mentioned this to Baloo earlier there during the 2-minute drill, and I got to thinking about it as I was getting ready for my interview today, or earlier today, with Dennis Gardeck down at the Miller Electric Center. You know, maybe it's me, and this isn't even really a Trent Baalke thing necessarily. You can go back to Dave Caldwell or to Gene Smith. Now, that's not a very high bar, because all three of those guys were atrocious in their own rights. I mean, really, really bad GMs, all three of them. But all three also in common did not do a lot of tinkering with the roster after it was set and after training camp was underway. Maybe a guy here or a guy there, but by and large, after free agency, after the draft, there weren't a lot of guys that were brought in the summer months here in Jacksonville for a long time that were going to make the 53-man roster. A few, but not many. But then you look at what James Gladstone has done since late April up until now. We're talking roughly 4 months. Well, on the defensive side of the ball, Emmanuel Ogbah is going to make the team. Dewan Smoot, I believe, is going to make the team. Dennis Gardeck, yeah, I think he's going to make the team as well. Austin Johnson, maybe the most under the radar of those guys. I think they really like Austin Johnson. I think Austin Johnson's going to get a spot on this roster. And they just traded for Colin Saunders from New Orleans, and I believe Big Colin will be here. And if that comes to fruition, Emmanuel Ogbah, Dewan Smoot, Dennis Gardeck, Austin Johnson, Colin Saunders. 5 guys that James Gladstone acquired since the NFL draft. If they all make the 53-man roster, that's 20% of your defense. That's good work as a general manager. If you can find talent that comes in and contributes and ultimately makes the team by showing what they can do in training camp and in the preseason, that is a good use of resources. Something we have not seen here from a general manager in a long time. Now, Emmanuel Ogbah, Dennis Gardeck, Dewan Smoot, Colin Saunders, Austin Johnson, are they going to be the missing pieces for the Jaguars to win the division championship? I don't know. But I can tell you this. All 5 of those guys have done things in the National Football League. All 5 of those guys have made an impact during their time in the National Football League. And with a young football team as is, and a lot of newness here, I love the fact that you brought in those 5 veterans on defense. Love the roster configuration that provides. Big fan. And again, I do think all 5 are going to make the team. We'll see. I mean, I think Ogbah's basically a lock, right? Dewan Smoot as well. Colin Saunders, why trade for him if he's doesn't have a great shot to make it? I think some of you might be surprised by the Austin Johnson thing. Go look at the tape. Go look at 69 out there on the Jaguar D-line. Dude's making plays. Making a lot more plays than some other guys. And then with Gardeck, we haven't seen him yet. But I get the vibe that Dennis Gardeck has a lot left in the tank. He just turned 31 years old. Coming off an ACL. He is a motivated cat, man. Again, I talked with him earlier today at the Miller Electric Center. We'll play that conversation for you coming up here in just a bit on Hacker After Dark. Training camp in the books. Joint practice tomorrow. Jaguars, Dolphins down in Miami. We will certainly talk about that. In fact, we will go to Miami coming up towards the top of the 9 o'clock hour. My guy when it comes to the Dolphins is David Furones of the South Florida Sun-Sentinel. We'll get the Dolphins' vantage point of not only the joint practice tomorrow, but the game on Saturday. Will the Dolphins starters go? What's Tyreek Hill's future in Miami? How hot is the seat for Mike McDaniel down there? There's a lot to get into, and David Furones is my guy when it comes to the Dolphins, and he will join us coming up in the 9 o'clock hour. I also will tell you, coming up here in just a little bit, I do it once a year on August 20th. And the reason I know it is because it's my brother's birthday. It's easy to remember. 23 years ago today, 23 years was my first day in sports radio here in the city of Jacksonville, interning for a guy named Mike Dempsey. And I don't get the question as often now as I did for the longest time. I still get it, pretty good amount. Hacker, Why do they call you Hacker? How did that come about? Is it a computer thing? Why do you have the name Hacker? Why is it Hacker After Dark? Why is your son Little Hack? Why do you have Hacker on your hat? Well, funny you should ask. Because I'll tell you what happened 23 years ago today. That is the reason. We now have Hacker, Little Hack, and the Hacker After Dark program. That comes up next. On Wednesday night in the city of Jacksonville, we're glad you're with us. It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Get straight talk from D-Rock.
So let me get this straight.
Mike Duraco.
And we get his insight every Thursday from 10 to noon on Jaguars Today. Opened by Lee and Kate's Glass. Guaranteed greatness since 1926 on 1010XL.
Hey, Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it, George Moore Chevrolet has it. And if you can't make it over to Atlantic Boulevard, no problem. MooreChevy.com is easy to navigate as any site you will try. It's never been more easy to use. George Moore Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
We've all seen great overtime games and thrilling finishes, but when it comes to having a big time, knowing when to say when is key. Budweiser reminds you to win the day and night by designating a driver. That's a victory every time.
Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish. And he's listening to the Nimnicht Outdoor Show.
With tips and stories.
Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning.
Every Saturday morning, 7 to 10.
On 1010XL.
Maxed out on credit card, struggling with high interest debt? You could pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Prosser here. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan Program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. That's Loan Pronto. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy, low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is an A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Call now and start the conversation. Go to loanpronto.com or call 999-1508. That's loanpronto.com.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Frangie, and I got to tell you, I can't fix anything. I would be so lost with plumbing problems if not for Duck Duck Rooter. But everybody knows to call the Duck. Well, I do too. Whether it's plumbing, air conditioning, septic, they handle all of it, and nobody does a better job than our friends at Duck Duck Rooter. Any of those needs you have, call them today, 904-862-6769, or go to duckduckrooter.com. If you've got problems, call Duck Duck Rooter. They'll handle it. I guarantee it.
Jax is more than a city, beaches, suburbs, or a destination. We're a community that takes care of each other. I'm former Jaguar Tom McManus. J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling is dedicated to serving you with respect and integrity. From estate cleanouts to furniture and appliance removal, we handle it all. Call 506-1256 for your free estimate today. We're here for you. We're veteran-owned and operated. J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling.
60 days from now, you'll be one of these two guys. The first guy, sluggish, foggy, and feeling like he just can't keep up like he used to. The second guy, driven, strong, and confident. Why? Male Excel's breakthrough microdosing protocol, a daily low-dose testosterone. You don't have to be the first guy anymore. Be the second guy. Take the same steps he took. Try MaleExcel.com. 100,000 men chose wisely. Your move.
UB40, the Relentless Tour 2025. This Saturday night, St. Augustine Amphitheater, with special guest, The Fix. Get tickets now at AXS.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. Till 10 o'clock every night. Glad you're with us. 1010XL, 92.5 FM. This time tomorrow night, we will be at Twin Peaks, Atlantic and Kernan, doing Hacker After Dark from Twin Peaks during the Hacker Fantasy League Draft. Now, here's what I will tell you. Every time we called for that caller 4 for somebody to get in the league, phone lines went nuts. I know a lot of you tried to get in. A lot of you couldn't get in. We had to limit it to 16 spots. But in years past, and we've done this for many years, there could be some people that don't show up for whatever reason. Somebody gets sick, traffic, car breaks down, you name it. We've heard them all for about the last 10 years that we've done this event. If you tried to get in and were unsuccessful, go to Twin Peaks tomorrow, and you can get on the waiting list. All right? The draft starts at 7. I'm telling everybody in the league to get there between 6:15 and 6:30. If 7 o'clock or certainly 7:15 rolls around and somebody is not there and I haven't heard from them, we will give their spot away. So if you want to get in, if you want to get on the waiting list, come to Twin Peaks. First come, first serve as far as the list goes. I'll probably be there around 5:30, 6 o'clock. But if you want to get in, or if you just want to come and hang out, little fantasy football, little fellowship. You can meet and greet with a little hack. He'll be there shaking hands and kissing babies until he has to leave to go home to get to bed to get ready for school the next day. But he will make an appearance. It'll be a fun night. Twin Peaks tomorrow, Atlantic and Kernan for the 2025 Hacker Fantasy League Draft. It's called the Hacker Fantasy League Draft, right? You're listening to Hacker After Dark. And I get this question a bunch over the years. A lot. In fact, I got it no more than a couple hours ago. Why do they call you Hacker? Well, on August 20th, 2002, which was 23 years ago today, the reason I know that, it's my brother's birthday. Before that, I was working at the movie theater on Phillips Highway, Denmark. I was sweeping up popcorn for $6.20 an hour. What an unbelievable gig that was as an usher there on Phillips Highway at the Avenues movie theater. Still there, by the way. Still have emotional moments every time I pass it on Phillips Highway, some 2.5 decades almost later. And I was there, and I met a guy that worked with a guy in the past that was in sports radio. A guy named Jason Matheny was Mike Dempsey's producer at 930 was the radio station. And I had always wanted to get into sports radio. Man, I loved it. I loved growing up listening to David Lamb, God rest his soul, Joe Cowart, Frank Frangie, Rick Ballou, you name it. I used to call into Frangie's show all the time when it was the Sports Fix. I used to call into the Bad Show is what he called it with Rick Ballou on the ball. I mean, for you longtime radio listeners, that probably brings back memories here in Jacksonville. I was 9, 10, 11, 12 years old when I would call into these radio stations. It was wild, but that's just what I did. I loved it. And I always knew that's the direction I wanted to go. And when I knew somebody that was in the business, I bothered Jason for months. And finally, just to get me to shut up, basically, he said, all right, come on in. So I come in on August the 20th, 2002. And that was the day that I met Mike Dempsey. You might know him. He hosts a show called Jaguars Today every day here on 1010XL. And the first day at work, for those of you that have listened to me or watched me on the stream, you know that I'm not exactly Jeffrey Lebowski. I dress a little nicer than the Big Lebowski, but not much. I mean, we do radio. I don't think you need to come in a suit and tie necessarily. But for my first day, I wanted to look the part. So I had a really nice collared golf shirt, golf khakis, nice shoes. I mean, I was looking good, Denmark. I was looking very, very good. And Dempsey comes in and he goes, hey, nice to meet you. Boy, you're really dressed up for a radio intern. I said, yeah, just want to look the part. He goes, well, you look like you're a golfer. Are you any good at golf? I said, no, man, I'm actually terrible. He said, oh, okay, well, we're going to call you the Hacker then. I was like, all right, well, that's weird, but whatever you want to do, no problem. So Mike goes on the radio that afternoon and says, I want to thank intern Hacker for his help. And here we are 23 years later. Because of what I wore to work on August 20th, 2002, the show is called Hacker After Dark. We have the Hacker Fantasy League tomorrow night at Twin Peaks. I'm all into the shameless self-promotion, so I have sweatshirts and shirts and backpacks that literally say nothing but hacker on them. My son is referred to as Little Hack by almost everybody that listens to this radio station. So if you ever were curious as to why, it does say Ryan Green on my birth certificate. That is actually my name. For those of you that follow me on Twitter, Ryan Green 1010XL. Well, yeah, I was Ryan up until August 20th of 2002. And that day the hacker was born. Hacker's my radio name. Oh, there you go. That's exactly right. Hacker is my radio name. And it's turned into a lot more than that. I'm pretty much hacker to everybody with the exception of probably my mom and my wife when she's mad at me. I become Ryan at that point. But outside of that, I'm hacker to everybody else. Denmark, have you ever referred to me as Ryan?
Never. I remember when I was about to be the producer here, and Steve emailed me back saying, "I'll let you meet with Ryan before, after we talk or whatever." And I texted Graham. I said, "Who is Ryan?"
Yeah, I get that a lot.
And I was like, "Oh, I'm stupid. Ryan Green."
I get that a lot, and that's why I've tried to incorporate Ryan the Hacker Green. But at the end of the day, I'm always going to be hacker, and I love it, and it's great. And that's why I love doing Hacker After Dark every night here on 1010XL. 23 years to the day after my first day as an intern there on sports radio. All right, Miller Electric Center. Earlier today, I had the opportunity to catch up with Jaguar linebacker Dennis Gardeck. Here is that conversation right now on Hacker After Dark.
Now, Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors takes you in the locker room.
Jaguars wrapping up practice at the Miller Electric Center. They get ready to head down to Miami for a joint practice and a game on Saturday. We got Jaguar defensive player Dennis Gardeck with us here on 1010XL. Dennis, how we doing?
Doing good. How are you?
We're good, man. Thank you for the time. How'd practice go out there today?
It went well. Intensity was high. Everybody was flying around. Communication was good as well.
Obviously a veteran like yourself with cut down day coming next week, you being an undrafted guy, what kind of guidance are you giving some of the younger players here, showing that 7 years into the league, you made it as an undrafted free agent?
I kind of give the same advice every year. Number one, don't ride the roller coaster, like the highs and the lows. Just try to be the same consistent guy day in and day out. And that kind of ties in hand with rule number two, which is just control what you can control, and that's really your assignment on each play. Don't start counting numbers on rosters and this and that and trying to, do their job. Just do your own job and let the chips fall where they may, and at the end of the day, you'll be happy with the result because you know you did what you could.
You're back in team drills now after coming off the PUP. How has the rehab gone? How's the knee feeling?
It feels really good. It's been a smooth process, which I feel like is all you can ask for. Bach and Ferg have done a great job since they've taken over the rehab. K2 and West in Arizona did a great job as well.
You had a lot of options, I'm sure, in free agency. What was it about Jacksonville? Why did you ultimately decide to sign here?
Young and hungry. Everybody's competing and ready to get after it.
I was talking to people out in Arizona, the Barbarian, right? The Madman. You got a lot of nicknames out there. You were a fan favorite. What does it mean when you leave an organization and you know how much you meant to that fan base? They were sad to see you go.
Yeah, it's tough, but I'm just trying to submerge myself in this culture and grow with the team, earn the respect of my teammates, being the new guy, and also kind of coming off an injury. All this time, from the time I came off PUP to week one, is going to be about earning the respect of my teammates and those around me.
Final moments with Dennis Gardeck. A lot of newness here in Jacksonville, a lot of new guys, a new staff. As a veteran in this league, how has the team come together over this training camp?
Yeah, the competition is incredible here. Everybody gets after it day in and day out. And when we step on the grass, we just understand offense and defense. We're both trying to get better. So every day, every rep is competition. And I feel like that kind of unites a team, is when you're able to compete and still understand this is for the betterment of the team, not necessarily, oh, he's doing too much or he's doing this, and you start pointing fingers. Everybody's competing, and we know it's going to only make offense and defense better. So I'm excited to see what we do.
Heading down to Miami, joint practice on Thursday, the game on Saturday. What are you looking to accomplish down there?
We got another group of guys we're playing against, so be great in communication and then fly around intensity and competition.
Final question. You've seen a lot of great pass rushers in this league. You're now teammates with Joshua Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker. A, what kind of guidance are you giving those guys? And B, what's your thought on them as young, up-and-coming pass rushers?
Yeah, they're guys. They're not up and coming. They're guys. They're people that I've been watching for a little bit now. So to be able to work with them, to pick their brains on kind of how they build their pass rush plan throughout a week, kind of how I have to manufacture some things, just being an undersized guy, communicating, just being able to play off of each other. We're just trying to build a united front and just be able to play off of each other, and we're going to play fast. We got a ton of experience up there, and it's going to be exciting.
Dennis, best of luck in Miami. We'll be watching.
Thank you.
There you go, Dennis Gardeck. I had not had the opportunity to talk with him before today. I enjoyed that conversation. Thank you to the Jaguar PR staff, and those guys at the Jaguar PR staff were spectacular the entirety of training camp. Not only to me, but to every show here on 1010XL. Spectacular. Whether it's John, whether it's Dylan, Amanda, Emily, certainly unbelievable how good those people are in taking care of us and getting these one-on-one interviews. Because every day it was like me and Carline and Cowart and Ballou. I mean, you got 4 guys down there doing one-on-one interviews for basically 4 weeks straight, and it was seamless. And the Jaguar PR staff is spectacular, and we really appreciate their help. And Dennis Gardeck, I mean, back to him for a moment, like I talked about earlier, I think there's a realistic opportunity or chance, mind you, that Gardeck, Smoot, Agba, Saunders, and Austin Johnson, 5 defensive veterans, all that were added after the NFL draft, are all going to make the 53-man roster. Now, if that comes to fruition, that's a big if, right? I don't know with 100% certainty, but that's the way I think it's leaning right now. What does that mean for some of the younger guys, right? What does that mean for a Jordan Jefferson? What does that mean for a Tyler Lacey, right? What does that mean for potentially a Yasir Abdullah? I don't know. I mean, we know about how young this team is, but those 5 vets in particular, maybe you need some older guys in a locker room like this with so much newness, so many young guys already. I just think there's a better chance than not that all 5 of those defensive veterans are going to make the 53-man roster. I mean, Agba's got to be darn near a lock. I would think Smoot and Gardeck are as well. And I think the 2 interior guys, Austin Johnson and the newly acquired Colin Saunders, have a very good opportunity to make the Jaguar 53. We will continue talking Jaguars. In fact, we will go to Miami coming up here in about 35 minutes or so. My guy when it comes to the Dolphins is David Furones of the South Florida Sun-Sentinel, as we'll preview the joint practice with the Dolphins tomorrow. Talk about the game on Saturday from the Miami perspective. That comes up in a little over a half an hour. Coming up next, let's get into the world of college football. We're 10 days away. 10 days from the Swamp. 10 days from Doak Campbell Stadium. 10 days from Between the Hedges. Miami and Notre Dame is the Sunday of Labor Day weekend. We're 11 days from that one. We are on the doorstep of the 2025 college football season. So let's preview Florida, Florida State, Miami, and Georgia with one of my favorites, Connor O'Gara, SaturdayDownSouth.com and the Saturday Down South podcast. He joins us next on a Wednesday evening here in Northeast Florida with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you right here on Hacker After Dark.
Blue here for the blue.
Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Bueller, stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, Jason, got a minute?
Always. What's on your mind?
This time of year, my air conditioner is running non-stop. Hot all day, hot all night. It has to run constantly just to keep up.
Well, that's what they do.
But if something happens to it in the middle of a 2-week heat wave, I'm in trouble, Jason. I can't wait 3 days or 2 days or even the next day for service. If you can't get someone here today, I'm sweating by tonight. What if it breaks, Jason?
You call me, pal. That's what we do. Bueller Air and Plumbing.
But you're probably swamped with calls from everyone else's AC that ran nonstop and then broke in a heat wave, so they called you because that's what you do.
But we always have room for an emergency. At Bueller Air and Plumbing, we have techs standing by because we know these things happen.
So I don't need to worry. Wow. That time you calmed me down without even using the sunglasses.
Oh, I was reaching for them.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Here's your 1010XL community calendar of local events and nonprofit groups helping people here at home.
Tee off for a cause. Join Junior Achievement of North Florida for the Golf Classic September 29th at San Jose Country Club. Help support financial literacy for local students. Find out how at janfl.org.
Find out how you can be part of the cure for blood cancer at the Light the Night Walk at 5-Star Ballpark November 22nd. Take the first step at lightthenight.org.
Military veterans have always protected us. And in Jacksonville, thousands of our veterans suffer from mental wounds like PTSD. Now it's time to return the favor. Learn how you can help at woundedwarriorproject.org.
The Creeks Athletic Association in St. Johns County offers a variety of sports for children 5 to 18. Learn how to get your child involved at caaleague.org.
You can find out how to share your community event at 1010XL.com.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Want to grow your hair back?
IHRS, right here in Jacksonville, is the only hair transplant clinic in the Southeast to offer multi-unit hair grafting and the 45-minute PRP treatments. Grow your hair back. Call now for a free in-person evaluation. 904-777-IHRS. 904-777-4477 or visit hairforme.com.
Got a cracked windshield? Not only is it dangerous, but did you know it's also illegal? Call Baker Glass. Mac and his crew use the best auto glass in the market, and they accept most insurance. Plus, all new windshields come with a full warranty. From cars, to trucks, to RVs, you can count on Baker Glass to be fast and friendly. Just check out their Google reviews. Come see us at the shop on Casa Avenue, or we can come to you at your home or business.
I'm back with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Hey, Hicken here for my friends at Clean and Freaks at Zero Res. Great time of the year to get your house zero resified. And right now, you can get your entire home clean from Jacksonville's ultimate carpet cleaner. You'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $135. Plus, they're throwing in a free hallway and take $100 off the air duct cleaning. Schedule your appointment at ZeroResJacksonville.com or call 287-5727 and ask for the 1010XL special. Zero Res, spell it backwards or forwards. It spells the same. Zero Res.
Zero Res. 1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. We are on the doorstep of the 2025 college football season. There's some expectations in Gainesville. Can they circle the wagons and recover from last year's disaster in Tallahassee? And then what is the thought about Carson Beck in Miami and Gunnar Stockton with the Georgia Bulldogs? Let's talk about all of it with Connor O'Gara. Saturday Down South was where you find his terrific work. You can also check him out on the Saturday Down South podcast. And Connor's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Connor, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. It feels good to be at this time of year where we actually can talk about a football week. I always temper expectations with week 0, but we made it. The offseason's officially over.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And look, when it comes to our teams, let's begin with Florida. They're going to ease into it, right, with Long Island and USF. I mean, all due respect to USF, that'll be a tougher matchup, but Florida should have a relatively easy time of it. What is your thought on the Gators before the gauntlet begins September 13th with these first 2 ball games, Long Island and USF? What do you hope to see?
I hope to see Florida work through what I think is going to be a tricky time getting on the same page with all in the passing game. To me, that's the biggest question I have with not those 2 games, but what comes after it is how much of a rapport has DJ Lagway developed with his receivers after a very well-documented, frustrating offseason that he had, not only with his shoulder, but starting camp, obviously in a boot, wasn't ideal for a guy that I think people are fair to question. Is he going to be on the same page with his receivers? We did not see a full Trey Wilson last year. We did not see J. Michael Sturdivant in this offense. We didn't see Dallas Wilson, the true freshman, in this offense. And so I think for Florida, you can go into those games knowing there's only so much that can be done that's going to make you feel good. I think Florida putting up 50-plus points in both of those games, and I don't sleep on the USF matchup either, but I think that would definitely quiet some of those concerns. I would still have those concerns, and that's the most troubling thing about that start is that, unlike last year where we got to find out right away what we were in for Florida, we're not really going to have that option this year. And it's really going to be more about those games 3 through 6 as opposed to games 1 and 2.
Connor O'Gara of Saturday Down South. Connor, there's a lot of hype around Florida as a dark horse playoff team, things along those lines. Do you buy in to that hype surrounding the Gators heading into the year?
No, I think the schedule's too difficult for me to truly buy in. But, I have Florida going 8-4 and beating Georgia, which that would be a welcome sight in year 4 of the Billy Napier era. And it would get Billy Napier a year 5, which is something that no coach has done in Gainesville in the post-Urban Meyer era. So from that standpoint, that would still be a successful season. Now, obviously, all of this can come apart at the seams if DJ Lagway can't stay healthy. I don't think anybody feels particularly good about Harrison Bailey or Aiden Warner being the backup to Lagway. But the saving grace for Florida, even with Lagway, having these questions coming into the year, I think it's better in the trenches than it's been in a really long time. And maybe it's better in the trenches than it's been since at least the Muschamp era. Like they have 2 legitimate first-round prospects on the offensive line and on the defensive line. And I can't remember a time in recent memory in which that's been the case. So Florida should be able to run the football a lot better. Jaden Boz being slept on, I think, nationally. I thought it was a joke that he wasn't preseason All-SEC. And I think defensively, everything's going to come down to whether or not Caleb Banks and Tyreek Sapp can be those guys up front that prevents teams from just running all over Florida. And that was an issue last year, and that was something that they were able to work through down the stretch. They were a much better defensive team, but there is still the possibility that Florida can be one of these teams that competes with anybody in the trenches. And if you can do that, they can take you to a lot of different places.
It was an absolute nightmare for Florida State last year in Tallahassee, and anybody's wildest dreams, 2-10. I can't even fathom that this time a year ago, coming off that 13-1 campaign. But that is their reality heading into 2025. Mike Norvell did a lot on the coaching staff, obviously bringing in Gus Malzahn as the headliner, as the new OC, a brand new quarterback, a lot of guys out of the portal. What is your thought on the Noles, Connor, heading into 2025?
I hated the decision to bring in Gus Malzahn. I really did. I think his best days are behind him. I don't think that if you're trying to rebuild an offense, he's all of a sudden going to be the guy to do it for you. And hearing Mike Norvell say at ACC Media Days, well, last time Gus Malzahn was an offensive coordinator, he won a national championship. I threw up in my mouth a little bit. I really did. I thought that was a disgusting thing to say when, one, it's 15 years ago. If we're getting hired for accomplishments that happened 15 years ago, all right, I don't know what we're talking about here, but that's just not the way that this sport works. And I think that would ignore what Cam Newton was in 2010. And it also ignore the fact that their offense fell off a cliff a year later when he was really an offensive coordinator. And Gus Malzahn is not developed a quarterback since how many years? I mean, we do this every single year. Oh, he's finally got a guy that's going to fit into his scheme. Maybe Thomas Castellanos is going to fit into his scheme. Maybe he's not going to be the Scrappy Doo of college football as he's been really labeling himself as, with being able to call out Alabama in the season opener like he has. But to me, I just have too many questions about it. I don't like that receiver room. I don't all of a sudden think that they're going to figure things out on the offensive side of the ball with what's being asked of them. I really don't. I think that is a dire situation, and maybe they're still going to be able to kind of keep their heads above water on defense, but I don't have a lot of faith that they're all of a sudden going to be like a 9-win team or anything like that. It is so hard to regress by 11 wins year to year, and Florida State did it. And I think there is a much more likely chance that they are back to the do something era as opposed to getting back to national relevance.
Couple of more for Connor O'Gara of Saturday Down South. Is there a number for Mike Norvell that he needs to hit? I've heard, 6-6, he's in trouble. Maybe even 7-5, he's in trouble. What's your thought there?
Which is wild, because if you improve by 5 games, you're not supposed to be, worrying about your future and having tens of millions of dollars paid for a buyout. Like, that's just not the way that this is supposed to work. But yeah, I think they have to show massive improvement. I really do. Like, I do think they would probably have to be like an 8-4 team that looks like it can actually have a distant chance in the ACC for Mike Norvell to show that he's the guy. And I don't really have a lot of faith in that. I think it's a team that is looking at 6-6 as a much more realistic option than 9-3. Now, I was the same guy that at this time last year said, look, Mike Norvell, he rebuilds in the transfer portal. They're going to be just fine. They're going to win the ACC. They're going to have a first-round bye. So I guess you should throw my projection out the window, because I clearly have no feel for this team whatsoever. And I feel like nobody really does at this point. But I do think that there will be a lot of context that's worth breaking down if it is a 7-5 type season. But I just don't get the feeling that this team is going to be up for the task at hand. And it feels like it's going to be a very new direction that Florida State's heading in at this time next year.
Connor, let's quickly end with both Miami and Georgia for the Hurricanes. We're going to find out about them pretty quick. Notre Dame opening weekend, then Florida in week 4. Carson Beck, obviously, in the NIL world, we know what he's getting paid. We know he's replacing the number 1 pick in the draft and Cam Ward. There certainly is some pressure down there. What is your thought on the Hurricanes?
I'm not buying the Carson Beck bounce back hype. I think missing spring with that elbow injury is really significant in the history of guys that transfer and they're not available to be able to practice in the spring. Like, it's just not a good history of stepping in and looking the part in that first month. And I think Miami's schedule really demands that Carson Beck is the guy from the jump. And I don't know that his receivers all of a sudden got better. I saw CJ Daniels last year at LSU, and that guy was basically invisible on that team. He didn't hit the end zone once. And all of a sudden, like, we're supposed to believe that that's going to be the option, and that Tony Johnson, they're all of a sudden going to be that much better in the passing game than compared to what Georgia was last year, where Carson Beck obviously struggled with a Georgia receiver room that led the nation in drops. But to me, I have so many more questions than answers about the passing game. And I understand the offensive line is really experienced. That's all well and good. You're still hoping that defensively a new look defense can flip the switch, because it was a disaster last year. The reason that Miami missed out on the playoff at 10-2, and essentially Mario Cristobal wasted an elite season from Cam Ward. And I'm not necessarily sitting here predicting that Miami is going to fall off the face of the earth. An 11-win regression is technically impossible for them, so they won't do what Florida State did. But I am definitely not buying the Miami get to the playoff type of buzz that I'm seeing early on, and especially with all the questions I have about Carson Beck.
Let's end with the Dogs, Connor. Look, for Georgia standards, dare I say maybe a little bit under the radar, even though they were 5th in the preseason AP poll. A lot of people seem to love Texas. A lot of people seem to love Clemson. Alabama's getting a lot of love. LSU's getting a lot of love. And there Georgia is just kind of hanging out at number 5 in the preseason poll. It's all going to come down to Gunnar Stockton, obviously, who's replacing Carson Beck. But what is your thought on Kirby Smart and the Dogs?
This is the preamble they like. The last 2 years, preseason #1 team, and we know how those seasons finish by missing consecutive semifinals. Preseason #1 is a curse in college football. It just is. 19 of the last 20 years, the preseason #1 team in the AP poll failed to win a national championship. And so Georgia now has a much more favorable preamble. This is a quarterback in Gunnar Stockton that everybody is saying he's more like Stetson Bennett IV than Carson Beck. My question is, can Gunnar Stockton be Stetson Bennett V? Which doesn't necessarily mean you have to be a guy that puts up crazy numbers, but can you be clutch? Can you show up in those big time moments? Can you be the guy that Georgia can trust, whether it's facing a deficit in a playoff game against Ohio State or facing, a late deficit against Mizzou on the road to be able to grind out a win? Like, those are going to be the moments that define Gunnar Stockton. And I'm not necessarily a believer that he's going to play at an all SEC level, but I have a little bit more blind faith that this defense bounces back after it was just weird last year. I mean, Georgia could have 1 week where it plays like it did against Texas and then another where it lets up 200 rushing yards to UMass. So I think Georgia is much more consistent on that side of the ball, despite the lack of household names on that group. But I do think that Georgia's floor is just so unbelievably high, and with a schedule that just seems to set up really well without having those road tests in the way that it did last year. I think we get a steadier year of Georgia football that results in another trip to the SEC championship, which would be 8 out of the last 9 years. But ultimately, I don't think that this is quite a national championship caliber team. I need to see a lot more from Gunnar Stockton than what we saw in his 6 quarters of meaningful football for me to get on board with a take like that.
The marathon that is the college football season is about to get underway. Connor O'Gara, Saturday Down South. Connor, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville about the website and about the podcast, where they can find it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. SaturdayDownSouth.com. I always tell people, just spend an afternoon reading college football content, free college football content, and it will be worth your time. It's better than working for all I know. But I appreciate that. And Saturday Down South podcast, we do twice a week during the season. We have episodes that come out on Wednesday, and then we recap everything on Sunday morning as well. So wherever you get your podcast, Saturday Down South.
He's one of our favorites, Connor O'Gara of Saturday Down South. Connor, I know you're busy. Thank you for the time. We'll talk again soon, pal.
Anytime. Appreciate it, man.
Every summer, there's one Saturday night you gotta be in Daytona.
Hey, boys, watch this.
The NASCAR Coke Zero Sugar 400. Brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234. From Jacksonville's NASCAR station. 1010XL.
Summer means fun in all forms. Longer days and more chances to soak up the sun and the fun. Budweiser and Bud Light reminding you to drink wiser. Hydrate between beers and don't sweat it. It's the best way to get home safely.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Get more Gators on the Gator Bites podcast presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists with new episodes every Friday. Subscribe and listen by searching for 1010XL's Gator Bites podcast wherever you find podcasts and at 1010XL.com.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Tired of high energy bills? Replace those inefficient windows and patio doors now. It's Renewal by Anderson's triple savings month. Get $300 off windows and $825 off patio doors. Plus, no money down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. This offer expires August 31st. Renewal by Anderson, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
Garrett Scantling here, and once again, thanks to Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, I'm back to training for the 2028 Olympics in LA. My torn hip labrum issue is resolved thanks to Dr. Doward, and Dr. Acevedo keeps my feet healthy too. Training and competing, that's what it's all about for me. And Southeast Orthopedic Specialists has me in top condition.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Did you know that for every inch of rain on a 2,000 square foot roof, 1,500 gallons come off the eaves of the roof? Call Clearwater Seamless Gutters and Drainage, and we'll design a plan using our Clearwater Seamless Gutters, and we'll connect those gutters to a Clearwater drainage system to solve your erosion and standing water issues.
Clearwater Seamless Gutters. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at gutters.
And drainage too.
SeamlessGuttersJacksonville.com.
San Jose Collision in Mandarin is proud to be an I-CARD Gold Class collision repair facility. That means they meet the industry's highest training standards. Experience the difference at San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
Jax is more than a city, beaches, suburbs, or a destination. We're a community that takes care of each other. I'm former Jaguar Tom McManus. J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling is dedicated to serving you with respect and integrity. We haul construction debris or property cleanouts for managers, owners, and realtors. We do it all. Call 506-1256 for your free estimate today. We're here for you. We're veteran-owned and operated. J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Jaguars in Miami. They got a joint practice tomorrow with the Miami Dolphins. You know, it's interesting. This will be the Dolphins' third different team they've had a joint practice against this preseason. The Jaguars, this will be their only joint practice session of the preseason. I don't know what that means. Could mean something, could mean nothing. I just found it interesting that, again, Miami had joint practices for their first two preseason games. Now they're having a third joint practice with the Jaguars, whereas Jacksonville, this will be their first and only one of training camp / preseason. Big news, I guess, today is the release of Joshua Cephas with an injury designation. He was waived. I saw Joshua out at practice earlier. He obviously wasn't participating. He had a ball cap on. Sucks, man, because I thought he was having a really good camp. For the second year in a row, I thought Cephas was having a really good camp. Now, again, I don't understand the verbiage necessarily of what needs to happen, but I think they released him with an injury designation, assuming no one picks him up. He could come back and revert to IR, would be my assumption, which is what I would imagine they hope happens, because I don't know about them being James Gladstone, Liam Cohen, Tony Baselli, obviously. But I saw enough out of Joshua Cephas where I want him to stick around. We don't have clarity necessarily on what the injury is. But again, I did see him walking around at practice today, so that would lead you to believe maybe upper body, something. You know, I don't know. I don't want to speculate, but he was walking around pretty good. But hopefully he can revert back to IR. Now, the question is, with that happening, what does that mean for the Jaguar wide receiver room? Well, we know the four, right? It's obvious. It's Brian Thomas Jr., it's Travis Hunter, it's De'Ami Brown, it's Parker Washington. Signed, sealed, and delivered, those are your top four wide receivers. The thought was Cephas was 5. That certainly was my thought before today's news. So what does the Cephas news mean for the wide receiver position? Well, I think Austin Trammell is back in play, a wide receiver 5. I think Trenton Irwin is in play. The issue to me there is I think Trammell is more valuable on special teams. And when you're wide receiver 5, you got to be valuable on special teams. Now, Irwin can do special teams, But Irwin's a little older, right? I believe he's 29. And my thought all along is that you keep one of the younger wide receivers. You put Irwin on the practice squad in hopes that nobody picks him up, so that if an injury were to take place to one of your top 4 guys, you would feel good bringing Irwin up to the main roster. Will it go that way now with the Cephas news? I don't know. If I were a betting man, I'd say Trammell, but I wouldn't be shocked if it was Irwin. I think those two are probably battling for one spot on the 53. A couple of the young guys that were doing some things earlier on in camp, I haven't seen much of recently. Doesn't mean they're not doing anything, but Dorian Singer, I think Eli Pankel as well, a couple of guys that might have fallen off a little bit, or at least aren't getting the amount of touches as they were a few weeks ago. A lot of things are going to be figured out at the joint practice in Miami and the game on Saturday. But again, look, 53 roster spots. What do you think? 48? 49 of them are basically locked up at this point. There's probably 3, 4, a max of 5 spots at the tail end of the roster that are undecided. Now, I do think there's still some competition for some starting spots. Particularly, it looks like there might even still be a competition at right guard between Makari and Chuma Edoga. We'll see. But both of those guys are clearly on the roster. I think of the 53 guys, maybe 4, maybe 5 spots at the very end are still up for grabs, and the Jaguars will have to figure that out after the joint practice tomorrow and after the game on Saturday. I would be stunned if any starter played on Saturday night. Stunned. In fact, I would be flabbergasted if any starter played on Saturday night. Now, because of sheer numbers, I think you'll probably see the Fred Johnsons of the world. I think you'll probably see Jonah Monheim. You'll obviously see the Jack Kaisers of the world. You know, Chad Muma, maybe Tyler Lacey, maybe Jordan Jefferson. You'll see some names that you're familiar with. But I think the main big guys, if you will, Trevor, BTJ, Walker, Hines Allen, Foye, Tyson, go on down the line. None of those guys are going to play on Saturday. The next time we'll see them in a game environment will be Sunday, September 7th, when the Carolina Panthers roll into town. A guy that I expect to play on Saturday, but a guy that I also expect to be on the 53-man roster is Christian Braswell. I think he's had another good camp. I thought he was good last year. He's good again this year. I think Braswell is going to be on the 53-man roster. I had the opportunity earlier on at the Miller Electric Center to catch up with Christian Braswell. You will hear that conversation coming up next here on a Wednesday night in the city of Jacksonville. We're glad you're with us till 10 o'clock. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
Estimated in 10 seconds.
Why don't you just turn it on and see what it does?
Sports radio is 1010XL.
I knew it.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental. With light sedation for cleaning, then deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, 2 locations in Jacksonville.
Brackish Vodka, the spirit of the sportsman and proud partner of the Jaguars, is now available at the Fresh Market Spirits and Wine. The Fresh Market Spirits and Wine is a new adult beverage store offering spirits, wine, beer, and accessories at A1A North in Ponte Vedra, a first-of-its-kind destination for thoughtfully curated spirits, wine, and beer as only the Fresh Market can. And now, you can get Brackish Vodka at the Fresh Market. Brackish Vodka, for whatever your sport is. Proud partner of the Jaguars. Jaguars.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
At Keon Atlantic, the savings are back in session. You'll just need to follow these simple rules to make the most of your back to school. Step 1, switch out your car for an upgrade. Step 2, drive a new Kia starting at $20K. Step 3, make no payments for a whole 90 days. Hurry in to start back to school in a big way. Online at KeonAtlantic.com. Keon Atlantic, your coastal Kia connection. For complete details, call 904-250-0587.
The 42nd Annual Wave Masters Pro-Am Surf Contest, presented by Favorite Gray, is Jacksonville's largest surf event and returning to the Jacksonville Beach Pier on October 4th. 20 grand in cash will be given away for the Marker 32 Longboard Pro, the Takaloo Men's Pro, and the US Assure Women's Pro. Enter at Sunrise or Aqua Surf Shops today if you want to compete. The 42nd Annual Wave Masters Pro-Am, October 4th at the Jacksonville Beach Pier. Come watch the best surfers in Northeast Florida compete.
Lucas Tree Service is a certified arborist and a local family-owned business with over 45 years of experience. They specialize in tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for both residential and commercial properties. Get prepared for storm season and receive top-notch customer service from Lucas Tree Service, 904-241-3533. Online at lucastreeservice.com.
Frank Franzi here for Coyle & Sons Fencing. Jacksonville is full of memorable sports memories. Remember Morton Anderson missing a chip shot field goal that launched the Jags into the playoffs in 1996? You know who doesn't miss? Coyle & Sons Fencing. If you're in the market for a new fence, I recommend calling Coyle & Sons today at 904-356-4821. That's 904-356-4821. Or visit CoyleJacks.com. That's C-O-Y-L-E, Jacks.com. Coyle & Sons, keeping your business and home safe for nearly a century.
At Performance Painting, we've spent decades protecting commercial properties with durable, long-lasting coatings. And we can bring the same expertise when painting the exterior of your home. With industry-leading materials and a proven process, we extend the life of your home, reducing maintenance costs and preserving its value. Now, for a limited time, save $500 when you hire us to paint your home's exterior. Just mention 1010XL. Go to performancepainting.com to schedule a friendly estimate. Performance Painting. Repair, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting. 1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
First episode of the Friday Night Lights postgame. Friday night, 9 o'clock here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Year 19 for us here on 1010XL under the Friday Night Lights. We started that thing back in 2007. We will kick off year 19 beginning at 9 o'clock this Friday night. Looking forward to that. Before that begins on Friday night, our new venture with Channel 4. Justin Barney of Channel 4, myself with 1010XL, is we will have a live show during games that are going on all over Northeast Florida on the 1010XL social media channels, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. Likewise, the Channel 4 social media channels. Justin and I will be in the Channel 4 studio about 7 o'clock to about 8:30, 8:45 on Friday night as games are going on in real time, giving you live reaction, live look-ins. We'll talk recruiting. We'll have some guys on that were blasts from the past that played big-time roles here in high school football, coaches as well. It's going to be a very, very cool show when you combine Channel 4 and what they do with high school football coverage. You combine 1010XL and what we do with high school football coverage. We think you're going to like it. 7 o'clock on the social media channels for both 1010XL and Channel 4 And our Friday nights just got expanded because I'll be doing that with Justin, and then I'll be back over here for the Friday Night Lights postgame beginning this Friday night at 9 o'clock here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. And as a matter of fact, the Bulls-Bulldogs season kicks off tomorrow night down in Miami, a Thursday night opener for the Bulls-Bulldogs that you will hear on 1010 AM as Matthew Toblin and the Bulldogs. They should be really good this year. They kick off their regular season in less than 24 hours. The Jaguars tomorrow are in Miami for a joint practice. They play Saturday night against the Dolphins in the preseason finale. A guy that has had a very good camp for the Jacksonville Jaguars, a guy that I believe is going to be on this 53-man roster, is defensive back Christian Braswell. Earlier on, I went one-on-one with the Jaguar DB, and here is that conversation on Hacker After Dark.
Now, Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors takes you in the locker room.
Jaguars wrapping up practice at the Miller Electric Center. We got Jaguar defensive back Christian Braswell with us here on 1010XL. Christian, how'd it go out there today?
I feel good out there. It's feeling natural. I feel like I'm in the flow of things, man. It feels real good.
2 preseason games in. How would you assess the defensive performance so far this preseason?
Obviously us being in a new system, honestly, I think we look good. There's always things to work on, but coming out fine. I feel like we're looking real physical when we're out there. So it's just we got to continue just to build and stack on it, though. But I think we look good.
Third year for you, third different defensive coordinator. What have kind of the challenges been with that?
It's a challenge every year, but it's something that I'm up to every year. Obviously, it's something that you got to adapt to, and I've been adapting very well to this scheme that Coach Camp got going on. And like I said, it feels good. It's starting to feel natural. Plays and stuff are coming natural when you're seeing certain sets. It's like, I know I got this, I got that. Just doing your job first and making sure everybody else is doing their job too. So just counting on one another to do each other's job.
The talk about you among the fans, the media, is kind of the same as last year. You've had a good camp. Do you feel like you've had a good camp?
Yeah, it's funny. I try not to fall back into that camp and stuff last year, and even just previous camps. Like, I just want to continue just to keep head on. I try to block everything out, whether it's good or bad, and just kind of stay locked in day by day, and just keep, like I said, continue to stack days. So, but I appreciate all the things that people may say, you know what I'm saying, but I'm just locked in.
For a guy like you that's been here a couple of years now, the change has been unbelievable. New GM, new coaching staff. New guys. You just added a new guy yesterday, right? And Colin Saunders. What has it been like in the locker room with so much newness this year?
Just continue to build on the camaraderie we already have. Whoever comes in, whether new, we just inviting them in like as family, you know what I'm saying? Make them feel like family when they come in here. Because at the end of the day, we're all trying to get to know each other, like you said, as an organization, and build this new foundation and this new culture here. So, it's just inviting people here like it's family, making them feel home.
Final moments with Jaguar defensive back Christian Braswell. You look at your draft class: Anton, Tank, Brenton, Ventrell, Tyler, Yasir, Parker, Antonio, you. I could keep going. That 2023 draft class is like the core of this football team. What's your thoughts on being a part of that and all the guys now that have such big roles on this team?
To be honest, I'm not surprised. Just knowing what these people can do on the field, and obviously I've seen it in college, I've seen it in the league, seen it in practice. Just knowing what we can do, it was just about putting it. The time when we got out there and we were able to put it to show. Obviously, I knew it was going to happen. So, like you said, Brenton, Parker, AJ, myself, all the other people in our class. I know it was just a matter of time we get on the field. It was going to show. So. It's a good thing that we're a big part of this core, so it's a good thing.
Joint practice with the Dolphins on Thursday, the game in Miami on Saturday. What are you looking to accomplish down in South Florida?
Same thing. Obviously, just continue to trust our training, go down there. Same thing as we come out here and do. We get to it, putting 100% effort in everything we do, whether it's special teams, defense. We're going to go do the same thing down there to them. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, it's going to be more aggression towards a team that's not our teammates. So we're going to get them, some bump. Yeah, we're going to get after them. But it's the same approach, the same mindset going in there, so it's going to be a day of work like any other day, you know what I'm saying?
Final question. The tough part of the NFL comes up next week with cut down day. What's kind of the vibe in the locker room? You guys all know it's part of the business, but a lot of guys that you've been, bleeding and sweating with for the last couple of months aren't going to be on this roster very much longer.
Yeah, it's a cutthroat business. Ever since I got here, I feel like the first cut day I seen, it was just real gloomy, real down, just being a part, just seeing it. It was like, wow, like I said, this can be a real cutthroat business. But like we said, we keeping everybody up in there. I feel like God is a miracle worker. So, regardless if you're here or not, he has a plan for you. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that I know a lot of our DBs speak to one another, and obviously we try to speak to the rest of the team. But, just not to give away hope, and also just continue to stack on the days that we do have up until the last preseason game. So just keep going, keep stacking. That's all.
Christian, you've been fun to watch this training camp. Best of luck in Miami.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, man.
There you go, Christian Braswell. Again, you look at that defensive back room. Obviously, Tyson Campbell, Jarian Jones, Jordan Lewis. Those are no-brainers. How does Travis Hunter factor in there? I think he certainly does factor in there. That's 4. Now, the Monteric Brown injury complicates things a little bit, but I think Braswell is going to be a factor in the 53. Look, to me, to the untrained media eye, and I have nothing against DeAndre Prince or anybody else out there, but if I got to take another corner outside of Jones, Lewis, Hunter, and Campbell, with the knowledge that Brown has been injured, I'm taking Braswell because I think he's been the best of the other guys out there, and I think what he's done has probably earned himself one of those coveted 53 spots on this Jaguar roster. More Jaguar talk coming up. We're also going to get the Miami Dolphin side of the joint practice tomorrow and the game on Saturday. My guy when it comes to the Dolphins is David Furones, he of the South Florida Sun Sentinel, and he joins me next. What has Miami's training camp been like? What has Miami's preseason been like? Mike McDaniel, is he on the hot seat? Is Tyreek Hill going to be a Miami Dolphin for the entire year? Why did they trade Jalen Ramsey? We'll get into all of it. David Furones of the Sun Sentinel next, right here on Hacker After Dark.
The tape doesn't lie, and neither does he. Jeff Lockeman breaks down the film and shares his insights with you Tuesdays during football season on Jaguars Today. Check the Tape Tuesday, checked by Napa Auto Care on 1010XL.
Now this is how you end a summer. Under the lights, surrounded by history. The driver's last shot at the playoffs. Your last chance to see regular season action. Friday night, Xfinity lights the fuse. Saturday night, the Cup Series delivers the fireworks. This is Daytona. This is everything. NASCAR weekend at Daytona International Speedway, August 22nd and 23rd. Get your tickets now at DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com.
Summer's winding down, and we know you want to enjoy what's left of it. But before you celebrate this Labor Day weekend, plan ahead and know all your options. If you drink, don't get behind the wheel. Instead, designate a sober driver or catch a ride service. And if you are the designated sober driver, commit to staying sober. Celebrate responsibly and remember to drive sober or get pulled over. This message brought to you by the Florida Department of Transportation.
It's the blog players put their pads on for.
So we got to bring my thoughts and observations on our home team. That's what I share with you every week on my blog.
Roland Reach Plumbing brings you Hayes Blog on 1010XL.com.
Are you trapped in a high-rate mortgage, watching your hard-earned money vanish every month? Stop right now. At Loan Pronto, they are delivering the lowest mortgage rates in 3 years. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto's rate reduction home loan program is a streamlined, low-cost way to slash your house payments by hundreds of dollars a month. Lock in at a fixed rate as low as 4.99% APR and close in as little as 2 weeks. No appraisal needed in most cases. And here's the kicker. You can skip your next 2 house payments entirely. Don't wait. Rates this low won't last. Call Loan Pronto now for your free, no-obligation quote. Loan Pronto is amazing. So start now by calling 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Or visit loanpronto.com to lock in your new low rate and skip those next 2 payments. 999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval, NMLS, consumeraccess.org.
Jacksonville is my hometown and nobody knows roofing like me. I'm Ronnie, the owner of Brandon Roofing. We handle everything from repairs to full roof replacements, start to finish. We give honest quotes, use quality materials, and clean up like we were never there. We all look at Google reviews, so go ahead and check out ours. We're proud of all our 5-star ratings. I would say we treat you like family, but some people don't like theirs. Go to BrandonRoofing.com today to schedule your free roof quote.
License number CCC 1328006.
For over 55 years, Green Acres Sporting Goods has proudly served Jacksonville from the corner of Normandy and Hammond Boulevard. From archery to hunting and fishing, they've got the gear, service, and know-how to get you outdoor ready. Stop by their full-service archery pro shop and check out their wide selection of firearms. And while you're there, sign up for their weekly concealed weapon classes. You can find it all at greenacresporting.com.
Fall is here. The air is crisp. Football is on, and the perfect backyard atmosphere starts with a high-quality fireplace from CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living. Hey, it's Joe C. Imagine nights by the fire, cheering on your team, surrounded by friends and family. CSS can transform your outdoor space into the ultimate game day destination. Stylish, warm, and built for memories. With several wood, gas, and electric options, let CSS make your backyard the best seat in the house. Visit CSSFireplaces.com.
Hello, Jacksonville. This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. At Orthopedic Specialists of Jacksonville, we know not every injury happens on Sundays. Sometimes it's flag football, weekend yard work, or just playing with your kids. That's why we built a team of fellowship-trained orthopedic surgeons, experts in everything from knees and shoulders to spine and sports injuries. Whether you're chasing championships or chasing your dog, we've got you. Learn more at osjax.com. That's osjax.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Dolphins, Saturday night, the preseason finale. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. The Jaguars have a joint practice down in Miami tomorrow. And then, of course, the roster cuts come at the beginning of next week. Every NFL team has to go from 90 down to 53. How has the Dolphins training camp gone? The Dolphins preseason and their outlook here in 2025. Our guy when it comes to the Miami Dolphins is David Furones of the South Florida Sun Sentinel, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. David, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Just getting ready to finally push through the final stretch of camp here. You get one joint practice, Dolphins and Jaguars, and then the preseason finale. The Dolphins were just on the road for 11 days through the Midwest. Chicago for a joint practice and a preseason game, went straight to Detroit for 2 joint practices there with the Lions, and then another exhibition, and finally it feels good to be back in the state of Florida and facing another Florida team.
Yeah, I can imagine. That is a lot of travel in the preseason. David, you and I spoke earlier this summer when we did our division previews, and at that point, Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith were still Miami Dolphins, and Minkah Fitzpatrick was a Pittsburgh Steeler. What exactly changed, David? Why that trade a few weeks back?
Yeah, well, they had to pull the trigger on a Jalen Ramsey trade because it just wasn't working out between him and the organization. I don't think him and Mike McDaniel saw eye to eye on a lot of things, and they were looking to move him. Word came out on that before the draft. It didn't happen on draft day or in the build-up to the draft. So it was just sort of like this ticking time bomb on when that blockbuster would occur before training camp. And sure enough, it was to the Pittsburgh Steelers, where the Dolphins could package really 2 moves they had to make, because tight end Jonnu Smith, coming off his Pro Bowl season at 30 years old, the Dolphins' lone Pro Bowler last season, he wanted to get paid like a Pro Bowl tight end. He was way down there in the ranks with his $4 million salary that he was on from his previous contract, which was a great deal that the Dolphins found him on coming off his Atlanta Falcons tenure and a couple of down years with the New England Patriots. So after he has his big year, but the Dolphins weren't willing to pay him what he wanted, then ultimately he got what he wanted from the Pittsburgh Steelers, who were willing to triple his salary. They're paying him $12 million now this season. And then the net return coming back turns out to be a reunion with Minkah Fitzpatrick, whom the Dolphins selected with their first-round pick in 2018. So now in the secondary, the cornerback is a huge question mark, as that unit is no longer led by Jalen Ramsey, but at least you have that safety net in literally the safety of Minkah Fitzpatrick, who can be a versatile piece for defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver in his scheme.
David Furones of the South Florida Sun-Sentinel, the Jaguars and the Dolphins. Saturday night, the preseason finale. You'll hear it right here on 1010XL. David, is the seat getting warm for Mike McDaniel heading into 2025?
Oh, it's not just getting warm. It is hot. It's a hot seat season for Mike McDaniel, and he knows it. Listen, he took the question at owners' meetings this past offseason, a little bit after the start of free agency, and he had a great comeback to it. And he said, "I want to be on the same hot seat that Nick Sirianni was on last year." Of course, Sirianni in Philadelphia, his hot seat was probably the hottest last year, and the Eagles turned it around to win the Super Bowl. I don't think the Dolphins are going to do all that, but yeah, there's no question. This was a built-to-win situation that he immersed himself into when he took this job in 2022, and the roster was in a win-now mode. And frankly, yes, he made 2 playoff appearances. That's more than a lot of the recent success the Dolphins have had over the past 2 decades. That's more success than the past 20 years. But that was sort of the bare minimum of what should have been accomplished with this roster. So they still don't have a playoff win since 2000. And, yeah, those were the expectations, were to lead this roster to a playoff win. And it still hasn't happened now. He's going into his 4th year. And it's not just him. It's also general manager Chris Grier, because while a lot of moves have been made for this win-now construction of a roster, now it's also put the team in a more difficult predicament going forward, as far as now they've had to quickly turn the page back to building through the draft, because they've eaten up a lot of salary cap, made a lot of commitments from the moves that they made going back to 2022, 2023, now going into last year and this year and the next one. So it's been a little bit more of a youth movement this offseason. And then they've also had to be more cautious with how they spend, being more frugal and not dishing out big contracts every opportunity they had.
There's been a lot of talk nationally about Tyreek Hill and kind of where he is with the Dolphin organization. It looks like he's going to be a Miami Dolphin, at least at the start of the year. Do you expect him to play for Miami the entirety of 2025?
Oh, now the entirety of 2025, maybe that's a different question. But I was telling people all offseason, I mean, I have a lot of friends down here in Miami who are, of course, Dolphins fans. And the biggest question from the very start of the offseason, from the moment that Tyreek Hill blew up in the postgame locker room at MetLife Stadium at the finale of the Dolphins season, when they found out they wouldn't be making the playoffs and they lost a game to the lowly Jets. And he said he wanted out. That everyone that I spoke to down here in Miami just wanted the Dolphins to get rid of him. They wanted to trade him. He had a down season. He wasn't producing as much as he had in the past. And then now on top of that, he's saying what he's saying. He took himself out of that game in that finale and blowing up in the locker room. You know, the fans had it with him at that point. But I said all offseason, no, it's not a tradable contract right now. They committed a lot of guarantees to him the previous offseason, and they were pretty much stuck with him at that point. But I could see a scenario if the season goes awry where by the trade deadline, maybe there's a way the Dolphins would offload him to a contender that needs a speedy wide receiver who could still make plays and could still compete for a Super Bowl if a team is in line to make such a run with a need at wide receiver. So I wouldn't count it out as far as happening mid-season if the season goes awry. But I also look at the Dolphins' schedule, and I feel like they're going to get off to a strong start, and then it'll be sort of the second half where the real challenge is. So I could, if I had to guess, if I had to bet, I would say he does make it through this season with the Dolphins.
Final moments, David Furones, South Florida Sun-Sentinel, Jacksonville and Miami this Saturday night. You'll hear it right here on 1010XL. David, there's certainly a lot of talent at the skill positions. We mentioned Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, obviously. Now, Devon Achane is a guy that a lot is expected out of. I know there's some injury concerns with him, at least for the here and now. Where is Achane at in regards to the season opener in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, we found out this week it's a calf injury that Devon Achane is dealing with He made it through one joint practice against the Detroit Lions last week, and then it was sort of a surprise because everyone thought he made it through that session just fine, but then he was not practicing the very next day. That would be Thursday of last week. So didn't go through that. Obviously, he wasn't going to play in the preseason game. It was one where the Dolphins starters were resting and sitting, so you weren't going to see him there. And Mike McDaniel, he said it's more preventative at this point. They're being cautious with the calf. They don't want to push him out there in practice at this stage late in the preseason with the regular season around the corner. So based on that wording, I would believe he will be ready for week 1 and the opener.
What is the plan, at least right now, for the Dolphins on Saturday night? We got the joint practice tomorrow between Jacksonville and Miami. I would be shocked if any Jaguar starters played on Saturday. What about for the Dolphins?
Sure. It's interesting because Mike McDaniel gave his starters one series, both on offense and defense, in the preseason opener against Chicago. So they did that, and then afterwards, post-game press conference, he said he still wanted to get them out there for another one of the games. So that obviously didn't happen in Detroit. Process of elimination. That would mean they send them out for this final preseason game. I just struggle to actually see it come to fruition because now you're getting closer to the start of the season. I could see it if Tua needed to get some reps with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, neither of which were playing in that exhibition opener against the Bears. So Tua didn't have a drive with them. But Waddle would be available if they wanted to. Tyreek Hill is still dealing with an oblique injury, so I don't think they would run him out there on Saturday anyway, even if they were putting their starters out there. So I actually just don't see it based on there's nothing more to gain. Like, he's not going to now get reps in game at Hard Rock Stadium with Tyreek Hill out there. Then why even do it to begin with? So, and in the past, Mike McDaniel has traditionally just run his starters out there one time in the preseason. So if you go by that math, he's already done it the one time. So the only other way would be if he wants to get them out there in front of the fans that go to the one preseason home game. But I don't think that's enough of a reason to go send your starters out there and potentially risk injury 2 weeks before the season begins.
David, final question. We got 60 seconds. It appears on the surface that it's Buffalo's division to lose. What is your thought? You cover the team as closely as anybody. What is your thought on Miami heading into the year? Can they compete in the AFC East?
Yeah, and in covering the team very closely, I have come to watch and cover a lot of Dolphins losses against the Buffalo Bills. So, yeah, I definitely agree with you. It's Buffalo's division to lose. It's theirs. As long as they don't mess up, the AFC East runs through Buffalo. It has since we're talking about since 2020 now. So I would see it as more of the same this year. A lot would have to happen. Sure, the Dolphins offense, it could take off again like it was in 2023 if they can run the football effectively, and then Tua reignites his connection with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. They improved up front at both guard positions, which could help both the pass protection and in the run game. Defensively, there's still such huge question marks in the secondary, specifically at cornerback, that I just don't trust them enough to hold any teams down. And I mean, I think really barring a Josh Allen injury, I wouldn't see a way that the Dolphins would actually win this division over the Bills.
He's our guy when it comes to the Miami Dolphins, David Furones of the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Again, you'll get Jacksonville and Miami, the preseason finale, Saturday night, right here on 1010XL. David, appreciate the time. We'll talk again soon, pal.
Yes, sir. Sounds good.
If your house feels like a Florida swamp and your thermostat's just throwing out suggestions, then it's time to call Duck Duck Air Conditioning.
They showed up fast, fixed it right, and even cleaned up after. My house is finally chilled, and so am I.
Whether your AC needs a quick fix, a full replacement, or just a little TLC, Duck Duck Air Conditioning has got you covered with fast and honest service. Call 904-862-6769 to get your cool back, or online at duckduckac.com. When your AC is stuck, call the Duck.
Let's get the work done.
Training camp is here.
Up, quick feet.
1010XL's training camp coverage is backed by Roland Reach Plumbing and Green Acres Sporting Goods.
Let's go. Here we go. Let's go. It's live now. Let's go.
The dog days of summer are here, and Superior Fence and Rail is throwing you a bone. Right now, get 5% off any fence project 100 linear feet or more through August 22nd. Whether you're looking for added privacy or to keep your pets and family safe, now is the perfect time to invest. Contact Superior Fence and Rail today for your free estimate. Cannot be combined with other offers. New contracts only.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Hey, Jacksonville DDH. Dreamfinders Danny Hicken here with the scoop from Dreamfinders Homes, your national builder of the year. We've got first-year interest rates as low as 2.99% in homes in 20-plus communities throughout Northeast Florida. If you're house hunting, make sure your first pick Dreamfinders Homes, the proud official home builder of the PGA Tour, the Florida Gators, and your Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit DFHSalesEvent.com today and tell them Dreamfinders Danny sent you.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Instant Keys saves the day if you have lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call 722-1111.
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Say goodbye to glasses and contacts with customized vision treatments at Bowden Associates. Hey, Hicken here. Dr. Bowden and his expert team bring you all the latest options like Evo implantable Caliber lenses, refractive lens exchange, or traditional LASIK. Tailored just for you. Imagine waking up to clear vision. No hassle, no fuss. You ready to see the difference? Call now or visit BowdenEye.com for a free screening. Bowden Associates, keeping the first coast focused.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Again, thank you to David Furones for the South Florida Sun-Sentinel for giving us the Miami Dolphin perspective on this matchup Saturday and the joint practice tomorrow. Of course, we'll talk a lot about the joint practice on the tomorrow night edition of Hacker After Dark. We'll be live from Twin Peaks tomorrow night for the 2025 HFL Draft. All 16 spots in the league have been accounted for, but like I said earlier, if you tried to get in, there is a chance that we might have a no-show or two tomorrow night. So come out to Twin Peaks, get your name on the list, if you will, the standby list. And if we have a no-show, you, your buddies, whoever you bring with you, will get into the league. Or worst case scenario, you come out for a little fantasy football, a little fellowship, a little Hacker After Dark. It should be a fun time tomorrow night. Twin Peaks, Atlantic, and Kernan for the 2025 HFL Draft. Likewise, it will be fun on Friday night as year 19 of the Friday Night Lights will kick off here on 1010XL. We're also partnering with Channel 4. Justin Barney from Channel 4, myself here representing 1010XL. We will have a show beginning at 7 o'clock on Friday evenings on the 1010XL streaming platform. That's YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all our social media. Channel 4 social media platforms as well will be airing it, as we'll be doing a show reacting to high school games as they're happening in real time. Certainly looking forward to that. I'll be doing that show with Justin Barney of Channel 4. So let's bring Justin Barney on from Channel 4 to talk about that show and to preview week 1 of the FHSAA football season here in Northeast Florida. Justin Barney of Channel 4 joins me next right here on Hacker After Dark.
Jaguars football is officially back. Be there as number 2 overall draft pick Travis Hunter, quarterback Trevor Lawrence, and new head coach Liam Cohen take the field for the first time during the 2025 NFL regular season. Secure your seats for when the Jaguars take on the Panthers September 7th by going to jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We'll see you at the bank.
Bueller.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, Jason, got a minute?
Always. What's on your mind?
This time of year, my air conditioner is running non-stop. Hot all day, hot all night. It has to run constantly just to keep up.
Well, that's what they do.
But if something happens to it in the middle of a 2-week heat wave, I'm in trouble, Jason. I can't wait 3 days or 2 days or even the next day for service. If you can't get someone here today, I'm sweating by tonight. What if it breaks, Jason?
You call me, pal. That's what we do. Bueller Air and Plumbing.
But you're probably swamped with calls from everyone else's AC that ran nonstop and then broke in a heat wave, so they called you because that's what you do.
But we always have room for an emergency. At Bueller Air and Plumbing, we have techs standing by because we know these things happen.
So I don't need to worry. Wow. That time you calmed me down without even using the sunglasses.
Oh, I was reaching for them.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Guys, want a golf course fairway quality lawn? TopDressing.com just landed in Jacksonville with the golf course secret for St. Augustine grass homeowners. A patented process that aerates and turns your turf into a fairway stunner. Serious golf course technology, but in your yard. Less water, tighter cuts, total neighborhood domination. No one else scores a perfect 10 lawn. Hit TopDressing.com now. You will own the block. Top dress your yard like the pros with TopDressing.com.
What two vegetables are combined in making succotash?
When you file a claim with Southern Oak Insurance, we schedule one of our trusted vendors to work directly with you, which means a faster claim resolution. Find out more at southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
In order to make succotash, you'll need dry corn and dry beans. Suffern Succotash was made famous by Sylvester the Cat.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Yo, E.T. here, and I need you to beat the heat this summer with cool escapes and non-stop fun in Clay County. Tackle indoor adventures head on. Throw axes at Live by Axe or smash your stress away at Just Smash That. Then kick back with drinks, good food, and fandom vibes at Nakama Anime Bar or Leaderboard Arcade and Bar. Whether you're blowing off steam or just looking to chill, Clay County got your perfect indoor getaway. Find your cool at exploreclay.com. That's exploreclay.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 87.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Well, to say it's a busy time of year would be an understatement. College football week 0 is Saturday. The Jaguars play their final preseason game, and cut down day is early next week. And Friday night is the regular season beginning for the Friday Night Lights all over Northeast Florida as the 2025 high school football season officially gets underway. With that, Justin Barney of Channel 4, always kind enough to join me here on 1010XL. Justin, always appreciate the time, and I know you and I will be spending a lot more time with each other every Friday night this high school football season.
Yeah, looking forward to it, man. I've seen you just about every day at Jaguars camp, and now I'll be seeing you on Friday night too. Looking forward to talking some high school football with you, Heck.
Yeah, there's no doubt the coverage that Channel 4 has provided over the years on Friday nights, the coverage that we do here on 1010XL on Friday nights covering high school football, and the powers that be have joined forces, Channel 4 and 1010XL. And Justin, just to kind of set the scene for everybody, every Friday night, beginning this Friday, August the 22nd, you, myself, will be doing basically an in-game multimedia show where we're going to be reacting to things in real time as they're happening all over Northeast Florida.
Yeah, drop in on some games as they're happening. Have some guests on to talk some high school football nostalgia and kind of the survey the lay of the land in the high school football realm. So throwbacks and recruits and our favorite players and some of the best games from over the years. All kinds of topics we're going to cover this year on the show. So looking forward to doing it with you, sharing the studio with you on Friday, Hacker.
Yeah, and you'll be able to catch that on the Channel 4 social media platforms, on the 1010XL social media platforms, and that show will kickoff this Friday night, beginning at 7 o'clock with Justin Barney of Channel 4 and yours truly from 1010 XL. Justin, speaking of week one, we're going to be talking about it on Friday night. Let's preview it now as the season gets underway. Biggest storylines that you're keeping your eye on as the season kicks off on Friday?
Yeah, just looking forward to the season. It's a different lay of the land in terms of high school. We got NIL now with players making more money than coaches. We've got a lot of new faces at programs, and two of the best players in the 2028 class, and Bryson Wright and Asher Gitto. So a lot of good players in the class of 2025. We have TJ Cole, Simeon Caldwell, Corbin Fordham, Naeem Burrows, Maureen Wingo. We have got so many kids, so many good storylines, both this year and beyond. Really just a good, exciting time, and nothing like week one in high school football. I think it's one of it's almost like Masters Sunday to me, just in terms of the excitement and kind of a date on the calendar you always circle. And it's almost like I say it's like Christmas or Masters Sunday, but it truly is kickoff Friday night in high school football. Cannot wait for this week.
Justin Barney of Channel 4. All right, Thursday night is when Bowls kicks off, and let's start right there. Justin, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out when you have a couple of Ohio State commits, a Miami commit, a Clemson commit, not to mention a handful more committed to D1 college football programs, that a lot is expected of the Bowls Bulldogs this year.
Yeah, and you're going down and playing Monarch in the Broward Football Showcase, so it's it's a team, the team type of area that you're going to see. If you're Bowls, once you get to that, maybe that Final Four round, you're going to see a team from that area. So why not go ahead and take a long road trip now, prepare like it's a playoff game in a sense. So, Matt Toblin has wanted to schedule these types of games where it's a road trip and it's a bonding experience, and it's a team that you're not used to seeing. So Monarch, Calvin Ridley's alma mater, a team that Mandarin played during its championship run to the championship game a few years ago, and Bowls gets them in week one, and I think that's only going to help Bowls. They lost before the state semifinal rounds. The first time Matt Toblin did not get to the state semifinals during his time at Bowls last year. So you want to be prepared for that type of scenario where they lost to Gadsden County last year, a really good Gadsden County team. So you want to take your chances early in the season. Last year they started with Rains. This year they're starting down in Broward County against Monarch. So it's a game, it's a test for Bowls, and I really think Bowls is up for it. They're my number one team preseason wise. I saw them last week against Creekside, and man, they looked good. That offensive line looked good. Defense and special teams look phenomenal. New quarterback in Jaden Weatherly. So looking forward to seeing how Bowls fares with the live round starting Thursday night.
Speaking of Rains, Justin, a lot is expected of the Vikings as well, but talk about what happened. Everybody was looking forward to this Miami Central Rains matchup that apparently is no longer going to take place.
Unfortunately, it's not going to happen. That game was agreed to a couple months ago. Contract signed. The game kickoff time was set for 6:30 on August 23rd, which is a Saturday night. The only game in town, and the higher ups at Duval County Public Schools wanted that game changed to possibly a 2 p.m. game that Saturday, or moved to that Friday night. The Miami Central team said, heck no, we're not going to do that. We already had a deal in place for the Saturday at 6:30 game. We're not going to change that. We don't feel like we need to change that since the game is already agreed to. So really no fault of Rains or Miami Central, just the higher ups at Duval County. We're not prepared to have that game on a Saturday night at 6:30. It's a lot of manpower required for that game. So I really can't fault the Rains or Central for not having that game happen. It just seems like it should have been something that the powers that be at Duval County addressed a couple months ago when that game was originally signed.
Yeah, unfortunate, because that would have been a terrific game between two very good football teams. We'll see what happens with Rains. Again, though, a lot is expected of the Vikings. A lot is expected of St. Augustine. They look like they're going to be pretty good again, although they did lose some upperclassmen last year to graduation. What is the thought on St. Johns County, particularly with St. Augustine?
I think you got to look at St. Augustine probably being the number one ranked team in St. Johns County at this point. They are really, really good. Of course, you're replacing a 3-year starter in Lachlan Hewlett at quarterback. Of course, Carl Jenkins Jr., he's gone. He's at UCF now. A lot of big guys. They lost talent on the offensive line down to IMG. So, I mean, yeah, you lose some guys all over that lineup. But Brian Braddock, he comes from that Joey Wiles coaching tree. You don't really rebuild at St. Augustine, as they say. You just like to reload. They coach those young guys up really well. They've got a lot of good young guys. Julio Santiago, receiver, transferred over there from Topoy Creek, and he's going to pair well with Samorian Wingo. So they are going to be really, really good. They were a state semifinal team last year. I've got them 3 in my preseason rankings. And I think, once again, with Brian Braddock there, Brandon James, those guys are going to be counted on to go way deep into the playoffs once again. And I think they're going to be elite again this year, even with those graduation losses.
Justin, I want to talk about the new show again as we begin to wrap up, and I want to talk about week 1 slate on Friday night, but maybe a team we haven't talked about. I know Beachside, there's a lot of optimism there for that young program, but is there a team maybe flying under the radar that may be a lot better than people think heading into the year?
Yeah, I think a few of them. I think my deep sleeper team, I think, is going to be Sandalwood. They enter this year lugging a pretty big losing streak, 20 games, but I think they are going to be better than people expect. They're going to shed that losing streak. I think Coach Kessel over there has got a lot more players out there, so I think Sandalwood is going to be my deep sleeper team for this season. You mentioned Beachside. I'm expecting big things. A lot of those guys have been together for 3, if not all 4 years, so I think Pete Duffy has got his best team yet. I've got them number 7 in my preseason rankings. And as far as teams that, yes, they're well-known teams, but I think you look at Trinity Christian, you look at Ed White, they play on Friday night. Those teams were very, very similar last year. They had a ton of underclassmen. Yeah, they had some seniors, but the bulk of their teams were underclassmen. All those guys are back at those schools. And I think this year, Trinity made the state semifinals last year, probably the quietest state semifinal run that they've ever had. And then Ed White won 8 games and lost in the second round of the playoffs to St. Augustine. I like both of those teams. And again, they were good last year, but I think they were quietly good. And I do think that big seasons are ahead for both of those teams. We'll get a glimpse of both of those guys in action when they play on Friday night.
Justin Barney of Channel 4. Justin, aside from Trinity and Ed White, what are some of the other better games to open up the year on Friday evening?
I look at Nice at Ponte Vedra, the Battle of the Bridge, those two St. Johns County rivals. That's our game of the week. I think that's a headlining game. Those guys are always good, both coming off playoff seasons. Of course, Nice was 10-0 in the regular, 10-0 last year before they lost to Oakleaf in the second round of the playoffs. So Nice, a lot of younger guys on offense, but an elite kind of defense for Colin Drafts and company. And Ponte Vedra, they've become a very consistent program. They have a good defense coming back as well. Talon Babin, Reese Beck. So some of those guys, looking forward to that one on Friday night. Creekside, a young team as well. They got to slow down Mandarin. The Knights hosting the Mustangs on Friday night. Of course, Creekside had a tough one against Bowles last week, but I like Mandarin at Creekside as well. Down in Palm Coast, Flagler, Palm Coast at Matanzas in the Potato Bowl. That's always a good one. Columbia Swanee, a rivalry game, a little out of our region. That's a good one. And then in Nassau County, Clay at Fleming Island, a headliner down there.
I love it. Week 1, Friday Night Lights. And again, for those of you that have not heard, Channel 4, 1010XL, joining forces this year for live game reactions as they are transpiring. Justin Barney and myself, 7 o'clock Friday night on the 1010XL social media platforms and on the Channel 4 social media platforms. We'll have real-time reaction. But, Justin, it's going to be much, much more than that. It's going to be a broad overview of really every aspect of high school football, present and even some in the past.
Yeah, looking forward to it. We'll have some guests. We'll talk, talk historically. We'll talk some nostalgia. We'll talk some of the best players we've covered. Look at recruiting, of course, a lot to cover on that in that front. So realize a lot of people will be at games and tuned into games. But hey, if you're not at a game on Friday night and want to talk some high school football and get some interaction and reaction from games going on, it's a great place to tune in.
I think it'll be a great partnership. Channel 4, 1010XL, Justin Barney, and myself. We will debut it this Friday night at 7 o'clock. Justin, thank you as always. I'll see you on Friday evening, my friend.
Take care, Hack. Thanks for having me.
And thank you to Justin Barney of Channel 4 for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark to preview week 1 of the high school football season. Very excited to be partnering up with Justin and Channel 4. I think it'll be a great collaboration between Channel 4 and 1010XL. Again, they do such a great job with their high school coverage. I like to think we do a terrific job with our high school coverage, and we're going to join forces every Friday night on the multimedia platforms of Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, as we'll do a streaming show live as the games around the area are happening. You can join us on the 1010XL Facebook, YouTube, Twitter stream. Same thing on Channel 4, as you will see myself and Justin Barney breaking down games in real time, talking recruiting, going down memory lane, all sorts of great stuff for high school football fans. And our first show kicks off this Friday night, beginning at 7 o'clock. After that show, I'll race back over here to the 1010XL World Headquarters, and we'll kick off year 19 of the Friday Night Lights postgame that will be scheduled to begin at 9 o'clock this Friday night, right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. So we certainly spent a lot of time on that. Previewed the college football season as week 0 is upon us. We have college football games in less than 72 hours, and we are only 10 days away from Florida, Florida State, Georgia, and 11 days away from the Miami Hurricanes beginning their seasons. But we never got too far away from the Jacksonville Jaguars either. They have traveled down to Miami. A joint practice tomorrow, the preseason finale on Saturday night, and then the cut down day is looming. Cuts have to be in 6 days from now. Next Tuesday, every NFL team has to go from 90 down to 53 players. Well, that will just about do it, man. It has been very, very busy, as basically every show will be from now up until January, with it being football season. We got a ton of people to thank for tonight's broadcast. Again, thank you to Justin Barney of Channel 4. Thank you to David Furones of the South Florida Sun Sentinel. He's my guy when it comes to the Miami Dolphins, as we got the Dolphins' perspective of the joint practice tomorrow and the preseason game, the preseason finale Saturday night against the Jacksonville Jaguars. So thank you to David Furones of the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Connor O'Gara of Saturday Down South joined us to preview Florida, Florida State, Georgia, Miami, and more. Connor's very busy this time of year, and certainly want to thank him for taking time out of his schedule to join us here on Hacker After Dark. And my Jaguar training camp one-on-ones with Dennis Gardeck, the linebacker newly acquired and within the last couple of months from Arizona. He is off the PUP list, recovering from an ACL, and I expect good things from Dennis Gardeck this year. I do believe he will make the 53-man roster. And also Christian Braswell, had the opportunity to catch up with Christian coming into year number 3, the defensive back, and enjoyed that conversation. And by the way, a big thank you for the last 4 weeks to the Jaguar PR staff, all the people down there, John, Amanda, Dylan, Emily, of course, everybody else, for being so gracious and helping not only us, but every show here on 1010XL out with these one-on-one interviews. 4 weeks went by pretty quick. We gave you, golly, 3 or 4 one-on-ones every single day. And thank you to the Jaguar PR staff for making that happen. Now, we will be back tomorrow night live from Twin Peaks, Atlantic and Kernan, for the 2025 Hacker Fantasy League Draft. We invite you to come on out, even if you're not in the league. If you want to get in the league, come out early, get your name on the waiting list in case we have a couple of no-shows. That has happened in the past. But even if you're not in the league, the draft is going to start around 7 o'clock. Hacker After Dark will go on live at 8 o'clock. Come on out and join us for a night of fantasy football. We'll mix in a little fellowship as well. Twin Peaks, Atlantic, and Kernan tomorrow night for the Hacker Fantasy League Draft. Dylan Denmark